Oh, hey, good morning, good afternoon, everybody, depending on which part of the country that you're in. I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. I am your host here, and you're watching Rebel Roundup, our daily news and opinion show. I'm on the wrong side of the screen from where I normally am. I'm usually over on the other side, but I'm joined today by my co-host who subbed in on short notice after working all weekend, Alexa Lavoie. Alexa, how's it going?
I'm pretty good. I feel better than I think you are.
You know what? I'm on the other side of it, I think. Yesterday was pretty bad, but I think I'm on the other side of it. And it could just be exhaustion. Why? We'll get to that in a second. But I'll tell everybody what we're doing around here. If you're watching us on Rumble, that's a great free speech platform wherein you can support the work that we do here at Rebel News and have your say by leaving a Rumble rant if it's over the $5 US cutoff. We'll read it on air. If it's under that, we'll do our best time permitting. But we already had a message from our producer that there's not a lot of time permitting today. If you're watching us on YouTube, which remains a censorship platform, but I know that nearly 2 million of you choose to watch us over there, and we love you for that. If you want to leave a paid chat, it's over there. It's called a super chat, and they have a paid comment called a super thanks. Now you're wondering, Sheila, what happened to your voice? Why do you sound like absolute garbage? Well, Sheila maybe a little tired because after Sheila works all week to bring you the news, Sheila goes out with her friends Corey Morgan and Tamara Leach on what we're calling the Independence Tour. And we're going to small towns and big cities all across the province to host town halls about Western independence. And I'm there because I just wrote a brand new book. It's called Independence Blueprint: What Alberta Can Learn from Quebec. You can get that at, oh shoot, forget the book URL now. Anyways, it's available on Amazon. Yeah, sorry, independenceblueprint.ca. It's also on Amazon. Our friend Corey Morgan is there because he's been around the independence movement for a very long time. And he has his book, The Sovereigntist Handbook. And of course, Tamara Leach, she knows what happens when you stand up to the government and demand fairness. You go to jail for 50 days. So we are we're tootling around the province in terrible weather sometimes. But we love to meet with the people and we love to answer your questions. This past weekend in Medicine Hat, we were met by protesters who, to their credit, were uh, pretty tame. I'm not getting any Christmas cards from these people, but by and large, no Antifa. Nobody pulled the fire alarm. They didn't try to block the venue. Uh, one of them did sort of yell at Ezra. One of them did kind of yell at me. One lady looked like she was made in a lab to be a white liberal Karen. But all in all, it was pretty good. And yeah, the people there were specifically anti-us, not just Western independence. But you know, it was fine. And it shows that even if you're on the other side of an issue, you can still protest and be by and large civil and not violent, which I think is a victory. And it's exactly how I want the new Alberta to be. We don't all have to think the same, but we have to allow each other the opportunity to speak, which is exactly what happened over the weekend. So if you want tickets to the remaining two stops on the tour, you can go to independencetour.com. And I think that's it. Let's go to the Iranian war update. I don't think it's an Iranian war. I don't think we should call it that.
hmm
It's an operation wherein the horrible mullahs in control are being knocked off one by one. Couldn't happen to a nicer bunch. President Trump offers an address on the US and Israeli airstrikes on Iran. Let's watch.
Finally, to the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass.
I think that is the exact right message for anyone saying that this is the next Afghanistan/Iraq style forever war from the Americans. I really don't believe that. I think these are targeted strikes to knock out the leadership in Iran and the IRGC around the leadership in Iran, and giving the people the opportunity to seize control of their own government after nearly 50 decades of this terrorist, murderous regime. I just don't believe that it will be a forever war. Trump does not like those forever wars. We already heard like, oh, a forever war in Venezuela. That didn't happen. I don't think that that'll happen in Iran either. I mean, we've seen the people of Iran over the last 2 months stand up to their government, which cost 30,000 plus lives. I think 32,000, 33,000 innocent Iranian lives. This is their moment, as Trump says, to act, to seize their destiny. He's just clearing the path.
Yeah, because if he didn't do it, it would have been almost impossible for them. With the repression and the static government, it would have been like impossible for them for doing anything. So it's why not only Iranian in Canada and elsewhere, as well as the people in Iran, were asking Donald Trump and the US administration to act and to help them. And the fact that he's not imposing a government is actually letting them doing like, hey, take over now. It's your chance.
Right. And change would never come unless he did this. And the American government under President Trump, he's not in, the mood of nation building. That's not what he's doing. He is trying to make America a safer place by eliminating the world's largest state sponsor of terror. And we saw how the Iranian government immediately reacted. Rockets at Israel, rockets at the UAE. Anybody that's remotely allied with the United States, they were shooting rockets at. So this will make America a safer place. Now, will it make Canada a safer place? I'm not sure, because we haven't thrown the IRGC types out of this country yet. And we know there are plenty of them wandering around. I remember during COVID, one of them who was responsible for the murder of a journalist was found working out in a hotel gym, while, the gyms were closed for the rest of us, in like an extra layer of irony. But he was just here, free, walking. Like, how did he even get into our country? But he was here. And these people should be, at the very least, back in Iran, facing justice at the hands of the people they oppressed for so long. We've got Mark Carney's statement on the Iran strikes. His is more sane than Anita Anand's statement, which we'll get to later. But let's hear from Mark Carney. Did he have a video? No, it was just an X post. Canada supports the United States acting to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon and to prevent its regime from further threatening international peace and security. The Canadian government urges the protection of all civilians in this conflict. We will take all possible measures to protect our nationals and Canadian diplomatic missions throughout the region. I mean, at the same time, like, what else could he say? Like,
Actually, it was supposed to speak at the press conference that they actually canceled just before he left from India, saying that the plane needs to go when they are the one controlling the departure. So it's not like a normal flight. It's themselves that decide when they want to take off. So the fact that I think it was in a way to avoid to be facing certain kind of question. So they kind of used the departure to save him from
Tough questions.
uncomfortable question.
Right. Like, what are you going to do about IRGC uh, affiliated types in Canada? Are you going to turn them over to the Americans? Are you going to deport them? What are you going to do about Iranian financing of the ongoing Hamas protests, which the American government has found evidence of, at least in the United States? And why would we be any different? Is FinTrack going to track those people down? Like, he's avoiding the tough questions. Like, the Americans are doing the heavy lifting. All you have to do is sort of come in behind them and say, okay, this is what we're going to do in Canada. And he's not. And we've seen how Trump handles, I don't have time for press conferences. He always has time for press conferences. He's taking reporters' questions on the door of the airplane. You could do that too if you wanted to, but Mark Carney doesn't want to because those are tough questions that
And
he doesn't want to answer.
And it would be nice to know if CSIS is actually monitoring sleeper cells
Right.
that we have in Canada, because we know we have them. And it's just, we never know when they will wake up and start acting.
Right.
Especially now, because I don't know if you saw, but there were a press release. Actually, it was just a publication where I think it was a high rank person in ERGC asking like to do the duty, like the people in the Western world to do their duty for Allah. I'm just paraphrasing because I don't
Right.
remember the exact wording that he used, but mainly like the Muslim in Western world, but mainly like in America, to do their duty according to Allah. So it's just like we should probably take that seriously. And
Yeah.
like we saw what happened in Dallas, Texas, that they are now looking into that is probably a terrorist act, since the man was wearing a shirt written the property of Allah,
Yeah.
and he literally opened the fire on innocent American.
Yeah. Now we've got, I think we'll get to that. We've got Poilievre's statement on the Iranian strikes. He says, conservatives support the courageous people of Iran in toppling this terror regime and reclaiming their destiny after 47 years of the regime's occupation. What a different statement from the prime minister, right? Conservatives support a democratic, free, and permanently denuclearized Iran that lives in peace and security with its neighbors. And conservatives support the United States, Israel, and our allies across the Gulf to defend their sovereignty and dismantle the clerical military dictatorship of Iran. You know, we didn't hear anything like that from Mark Carney, that you know, they clearly support the Israeli and American strikes to denuclearize Iran. I saw some images of them taking out a nuclear facility. I think it was early this morning. And it is true, Iran attacked Gulf states, which are allied with Israel and the United States. They're part of the Abraham Accords. And that's who Iran nearly immediately lashed out against. They see Israel as the little Satan. That's their words, not mine. But the big Satan for them has always been America. So these strikes make America safer. It's not a war, it's a strike. Let's move ahead. We've got Anita Anand reacting. So she's our Minister of Foreign Affairs. She's supposed to be the point person on this. I just talked about this on the Ezra Levant show with Scarlet Grace, because that's why I look like this, is because I was hosting for Ezra before I jumped on the live stream here. So I've got some opinions about the things that she says here, because she's choosing her words very carefully.
First and foremost, Canada wasn't involved. We weren't notified, and we do not have an intention to be involved in any military strikes or operation. We share the concern of the United States and many other countries relating to Iranian nuclear proliferation. And in fact, we've called on Iran for a number of years to cease proliferating in terms of its nuclear capacity. That's why we have not had diplomatic relations with Iran for 15 years. At the same time, we prefer a diplomatic solution. This is why I have spent the last 2 days speaking with my counterparts across the Middle East and in the Gulf states, from Jordan to Qatar, to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, to UAE, and all of my G7 counterparts, stressing that Canada believes in a diplomatic and peaceful solution, and as soon as possible, we would like parties to get to the table.
She thinks that you could negotiate with the world's largest state sponsor of terror. We believe in a diplomatic solution. She also admits that the Americans did not include Canada, didn't even give them a heads up about what was going to happen. Yeah, because A, what are we going to do? Like, how could we possibly help? But also B, I think it suggests that they probably don't trust us to be involved. But then she tries to rewrite history. I don't want to cut you off, but I'm older than you, so I remember when this happened. She says we haven't had diplomatic relations with Iran in 15 years. And she sort of says it like it's something that the liberals did. Like, yeah, we don't want nuclear proliferation in Iran, and that's why we ended our diplomatic relationship with them 15 years ago. Well, actually, we ended the diplomatic relationship with them in 2012. And it wasn't the liberals that did it, of course, if you know who was in power when. Stephen Harper threw them out. He threw out all their diplomats. It was John Baird, who was the foreign affairs minister at the time. He was actually quite great. He said, Canada's committed to fighting global terrorism and holding perpetrators of terrorism and those who provide them support accountable for their actions. Anyways, he said, Iran is among the world's worst violators of human rights. It shelters and materially supports terrorist groups. Unequivocally, we have no information about a military strike on Iran, but we closed our embassy in Iran and declared all Iranian diplomats in Canada persona non grata. Those diplomats had 5 days to leave. And so it was actually Stephen Harper who threw them all out. And he actually cited the intimidation by the IRGC within Canada on the Iranian expat community. So the Iranian diaspora, largely in Toronto, the embassy was using its operatives there to bully and intimidate Canadians who had escaped the regime, saying, we'll go get your family, shut up. And so Harper said, no, enough, get out of this country. For this and 1,000 other reasons. And I love how she just tries to take credit for it. Like the liberals have always been in power.
Funny because it's not also China who is doing something like that.
Exactly. Exactly. And the liberals using Stephen Harper's bar should be throwing the Chinese diplomats out for the same reason.
And if you look at how she's like speaking, she makes sure like, oh, we didn't know about the US military operation and all those information. I hope we didn't know, because with the amount of people here in Canada, we don't know if they have affiliation with the ERGC. You're not going to actually tell everybody that you're going to do something that require a lot of intelligence to know where they will be at the exact moment to attack that place. Especially with a country where we have like a huge amount of people involved in terrorism. I can understand why the US wouldn't want to inform Canada first.
Well, especially since the Liberals would sign the nomination papers of people who are explicitly sympathetic to the regime. Oh, his name escapes me now, but David Menzies, former MP, who sat as a Liberal MP in the government for quite some time, he was openly sympathetic to the regime. So,
You're not talking about Omar?
No, no, I forget his name. Anyways, it doesn't matter. He's no longer an MP. I think thanks in no small part to David Menzies' work on him. But these guys sit in the Liberal government, sympathetic to the regime. Why would you tell the Liberal government what you're going to do in Iran if you're the Americans? Like, you just can't trust them. Let's just show.
And by the way, we still don't know the 11 parliamentarians who actually sold our information to foreign entities.
Right. It's not just China. Exactly that. It wasn't just China. 11 parliamentarians. I have a pretty good guess about 9 of them. 11 parliamentarians who were the beneficiaries of foreign interference and or subject to receiving foreign influence, either in the Senate or the House of Commons. I just want to go into just a little bit of Scarlett Grace's reporting from the streets of Toronto, because the Iranian diaspora and the Persian community took to the streets for their weekly protest as their countrymen struggle for freedom. And she was there on the ground when it sort of trickled through the crowd what Donald Trump had done, because they didn't know. They went there to protest, as they do every single week, for an end to the violence against the peaceful protesters in Tehran. And she said, you know, there's so many people there every single week that you can't get good cell service. You know, it's like trying to get cell service at a hockey game. And she said, so you get pockets of people who would just suddenly start cheering, and you'd ask them what was going on, and they would sort of find out what was happening. And so she was there, and she said I was there as a reporter, but this is near and dear to her. And she said it was just people crying, just overwhelmed, knowing that if ever there was an opportunity for them to be free, it's now.
And me, I was able to cut in Montreal loyalist of IRGC, literally gross. Mourning the fact that Khomeini have been reportedly killed. And I was there on the street when some real Iranians were actually facing them. And it was actually great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so great. We've got a video from a woman in Richmond Hill. So that's just north of Toronto, but part of the greater Toronto metropolis, thanking the US and Israel for striking the Islamic regime.
Waiting for Trump and Israel to get rid of this barbaric regime.
And it's finally time, it seems.
Yeah, we are happy. People in Iran celebrating. Every place, Iranian in every place, in every city, in the world are celebrating. And thank you, Mr. Trump. Thank you, Israel. We needed you, because if you don't attack to Iran, or you didn't attack to Iran, they continue massacre, they continue execution. So we thank US, Mr. Trump. Thank you so much.
And by the way, this is actually amazing, but did you see what CBC did? Literally using a picture that was actually from the Iranian press that was actually controlled by the regime. Like literally 2 people mourning Khomeini.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
I was like, this is just outrageous, irrespectful, especially seeing so many Iranian in Canada asking for the opposite. And their protest is never been covered by the mainstream media.
Yeah, here it is.
Insane. When you think of that, why did you choose that? Literally, this picture is because you are sympathetic to that regime. You can't actually say, oh, poor, like people are mourning this sadistic human being. Like, I can't actually believe that. And you see the people on the street. Have those people been reported by CBC? a doubt. The people were chanting, celebrating his death in the streets of Canada. I didn't see anything in TV, probably because I missed it, or I don't know if they did cover it. But when I was in the street, I didn't see any of them reporting what was happening.
These media outlets are so reflexively elbows up, liberal voting boomer, anti-Trump, that they will side with the regime, even though Trump is liberating millions of people, or at least allowing them to liberate themselves. Like, imagine hating Trump so much that you can't see the good in what he's done. My God.
Yeah, because this is literally what it is. It's all anti-Trump coverage.
Yeah.
Everything that will fit the narrative, they will actually cover it. But this is not journalism. This is activism.
We've got a video of the number of flowers left in front of the U.S. consulate from Iranians thanking the United States for allowing them to take back their own country. Do we have that? That's amazing.
You see no graffiti,
No.
no window smashed, no fire, nothing. Just flower and peace and
Gratitude.
yeah.
Gratitude. I think 3 American servicemen died in efforts to end the regime. And Donald Trump said that the potential, of course, and is for more in any strike, but that those servicemen died in an effort to make America and the world a lot safer.
And we should thank them. And
yeah.
And you see a lot of Cuban were in the streets too, in support of the Iranians and asking for the same thing, the same thing for Cuba.
Do you know what? I think that if I were the Cuban dictator, I would just say, you know what? I'm just going to go on an extended vacation to Russia, and I just won't be back, because we saw what happened to Maduro. We just saw what happened to the upper echelons of the leadership in Iran. If I were a bad guy on the wrong side of Trump in this country or in this world, I would just be like, okay, you know what? You don't have to ask me twice to leave. I'm just gonna go. So maybe we'll see regimes change themselves as dictators start an effort in self-preservation. Let's just show. No, we showed B-roll of it, so I'll leave it. This you mentioned earlier that we should be concerned about these IRGC type sleeper cells activating in Canada. We saw a shooting target, pardon me, target a Toronto area Iranian activist boxing club the night after Khomeini's death. Khamenei, I'll say it how it's spelled and not how everybody says it. We could show this video.
And you need to know that this man was also one of the organizers of the big march who took place on February 14. So he represents something in the movement of freedom in Iran.
Yeah. So he's showing the bullets that were shot at his boxing gym. This is happening on the streets of Canada. We've got Iranian-backed radicals, Hamas types, shooting up Jewish girls' schools and shooting up pro-freedom activist businesses in the Iranian diaspora. You'd think our government would want to do something about it, but they can't even say if they believe what the United States did was legal and just. It's terrible.
I hope like the individual will be arrested and charged properly and not have like a weak sentence because, oh, poor them, they suffered this or this in the past, or their family or their grandparents suffered this. Like our justice system is just now ridiculous.
Yeah. And then we've got deadly Texas bar shooting. Again, the day of or day after the American government takes out the upper leadership of the Iranian regime. 2 people were killed and over a dozen injured in a shooting inside a beer garden in Austin, Texas, in an incident the FBI says may be related to terrorism.
But when you look at the individual who actually committed that act, it speaks a lot by itself. Like,
Yeah,
the man is naturalized from Senegal, and he was wearing a shirt, property of Allah.
right.
And
It gets more, though. It said CBS was also told by an official with knowledge of the investigation that officers who searched the gunman's home found an Iranian flag, not the lion in the sun, the other one, and pictures of Iranian leaders. The attack came on the weekend that the U.S. and its ally Israel launched multiple strikes on Iran, killing Supreme Leader, why are we calling him that? Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Yeah.
obviously, like, everything is there for believing that this is literally a terrorist act.
Yes.
And it is in the US, so I know it will be charged properly and the investigation will be proper and this will lead to justice. But if it was done in Canada, I will have some doubt.
Yes. Let's hit an ad break, come back on the other side. We've got some news of the transgender child stabber, throat slitter, just breaking in the Western Standard. Lisa and I have been talking about that poisoned dart frog of a human being for weeks now. In fact, my original video on him was taken down thanks to a publication ban, even though he's been tootling around the province talking about his crimes and how it may have been the wrong choice for him to slit his daughter's throat. Well, we could tell you about his sentencing. So let's hit an ad break and then we'll talk about that and see what other topics we can get to before we run out of time while I take a drink of water.
Hello everyone, Tamara Leach here with Rebel News, and I am thrilled to announce that I am heading out on tour to talk about all things Alberta independence with 2 of my favorite authors and journalists, Sheila Gunn Reid and Corey Morgan. We are doing 9 cities across the province of Alberta to talk about all things Alberta independence. You can expect live presentations from each of us, a panel discussion on independence, a Q&A, as well as a book signing and meet and greet following each of the events. For more information, to pick up your ticket, or to find out if we'll be coming to your community, you can visit independencetour.com. That's independencetour.com. Looking forward to getting out there and seeing all of you.
You forgot your bathing suit. You really want to go for a dip. This is what we call a last resort. If your most recent electricity bill says the rate of last resort, then your rate is like the rental bathing suit. It will serve its purpose, but there are likely better options available.
Gun bans make great distractions.
Trudeau may be gone, but Carney has picked up his same
We
rhetoric.
will quickly, and I mean quickly, reinvigorate the buyback of
Hunters, collectors, competitors, and defenders of tradition are still being targeted, while criminals run wild under Liberal policy. But we are fighting back. Join us, Canada's National Firearms Association, in defense of freedom.
All right. We've got some breaking news out of Alberta. So, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, there was a man. I don't care how he presents himself. He was the father of these children. And I still have questions about where the mother was, what she was up to, that her children were in care and control of this man. Michael Atwood goes by the name Alice, drives the minivan emblazoned with the phrase I think it's all children matter. Which is interesting because he butchered or attempted to butcher his own children. He slit his 8-year-old daughter's throat so deeply that he severed her esophagus. And he describes what he did to his son as brushed him or grazed him with a knife. I don't know. But anyway, he's trans, and I went down the deep dive of his social media, his YouTube presence before that was taken down. And then to comply with the court order, I took my video down because there was a publication ban. But he has been, so I couldn't talk about this stuff, but he has been driving all over the province, apparently homeless, talking about his plight and his sadness, and how perhaps maybe slitting his daughter's throat and stabbing his son was not the best choice for himself, but he was just trying to protect his kids, whatever that means. Like, when I describe these people as poison dart frogs, I mean in nature, things that are brightly colored and obnoxious are usually dangerous and poisonous, and so you should stay away from them. And that's my advice to everybody when you see this rolling down the street. But he was sentenced today for the attack on his children, which I think by the grace of God, his daughter survived. I don't know why the sentence wasn't longer. I don't know why the Crown asked for something so small. But he was out on conditions awaiting his sentencing. So I guess nobody thought he was a danger to the community. Okay. An Alberta judge has sentenced a transgender parent, let's call it father, to 5 years in prison for stabbing his 2 children, a term that falls on the higher end of the scale for such offenders. What an indictment of the Canadian justice system that sentence was. Alice Michael Atwood received a sentence in provincial court. The Crown had been seeking 5.5 years, while the defense argued for a term of 3 to 4 years. Honorable Justice J. Sierra said the severity of the crimes demanded a stronger response from the court. The judge emphasized the need to protect children as a fundamental value of Canadian society. He stabbed his 8-year-old daughter in the neck, severing 75% of her upper esophagus. Atwood entered his daughter M.A.'s bedroom in the night, armed with a serrated kitchen knife. He deliberately stabbed her in the neck, requiring emergency surgery to save her life. Why isn't this attempted murder? His 7-year-old son, W.A., sustained minor injuries during the attack. Afterward, Atwood washed the knife and called 911. The judge emphasized the attack occurred in the children's bedrooms in their own home, where they ought to have felt the safest. He noted that Atwood abused a position of trust as a parent. A forensic psychiatrist examined Atwood and found no evidence of a serious mental illness at the time of the offenses.
Are you kidding me?
While there were signs of a borderline personality disorder and emotional instability, the court found Atwood understand his actions and bore significant moral responsibility. Why just 5 years then?
Exactly.
Although the accused's gender identity may have been an additional source of stress, there is no evidence that it triggered mental health issues so acute as to diminish moral culpability. Well, I'm glad that phrase was uttered. The judge also addressed Atwood's cannabis use, which was raised during the proceedings. While the accused cannabis use may explain, I'm furious. I'm too sick to read this with the pronouns written by the judge. The accused chose to use cannabis regularly. Okay. While the accused cannabis use may explain, the judge uses the pronoun her here. It does not justify it, nor absolve, again, the wrong pronoun, her, of responsibility for the choices, again, the judge writes, she made. My God. The regular use of cannabis, despite having the care of the children, manifested recklessness on the accused part. The sentence includes credit for time already served.
Which time, sir?
Great question.
That it was released like almost
immediately,
right away.
Yeah.
There is no time, sir.
I don't know how you could damn near kill your kids and get 5 years after going around the province on conditions justifying it to the public, while journalists like me were silenced from talking about it.
And still
a little
saying
girl
that
was damn near killed in her bed by her dad with a serrated knife.
And still
5
saying that
years.
he doesn't know if it was a right or wrong decision. Hello?
Right.
Like,
Right.
this person is a danger for society. He has been released right away. He is free among the population. Who knows if this person will not just decide to stab others? Like, he's not stable. Like, you can actually see in all his video that he's posting, because he's posting a lot on TikTok.
Constantly. Yeah,
Constantly.
look at this.
And he seems, no, it just not seems, he is mentally unstable. And everybody can actually see it. And he is around not only adult, but he's around other children.
Right, because he's loose, or at least he was.
Yeah.
Now he's going to jail for 5 years.
Well, just 5. And is it
just 5?
5 years firm, or
No.
is going to be released before?
I bet she'll be out in 3. If that. That little girl will live with that forever. She'll have that scar on her neck forever. She probably has serious health repercussions because of it.
Hey,
And,
guys, we need to also like to put in relation that Tumbler Ridge was actually prosecuted for what, 3 years for a non-violence
And her bail
action?
was revoked on a false breach, and she spent 50 days in jail, which is more so far than this guy.
Yeah, and didn't want to release him, release her. And I'm so confused with those pronouns.
Yeah, the judge still using those pronouns. In the new country, we're not doing this. Because see stuff like that, and I'm like, no. I would like, no. We have a chance to reclaim our culture, and we're gonna. Where if you can, like, oh my God. This is the thing. I went down and American journalists could talk about it because they're not bound by the same publication ban as me.
But why do you have that? Why do you have a publication ban?
I guess to protect the minor victims, but also to protect the fairness of the system for the dad who butchered his kids in their own beds.
This is insane.
Armed trans women. This guy was tootling around my province in his minivan, just the same way as I do in my SUV. Just free as a bird.
Yeah. And how do our justice system is there to protect the population? Because by freeing this individual is not protecting the public, it's actually protecting criminal.
Right. Look at this.
Like, look at that. Oh my God.
Imagine encountering this person in the wild. My Lord. Good grief.
Yeah. Better laughing than turning insane.
Well, and then it's like, who could have seen this coming?
Me.
Everybody, all the signs were there. We don't know how to pinpoint who these people are before they do these things. I think you can. I very much think you can, actually.
But look at Tumbler Ridge. It was the same thing. All the signs were there. Everybody closed their eyes. Everybody put that under the rug and just pretended that it wasn't there. When clearly that guy, not a woman, a man, was literally sick, mentally sick. And nobody did anything. Same like him too.
Yeah.
Another man who was sick, literally unstable, around children, his own children, and he committed what everybody could have actually say, it's coming, It's coming.
That just a totally normal saying, Dad. Hey.
Yeah.
We got to touch on this one thing because it's in the headline, and then we'll just sort of breeze through what we have left to talk about.
Yeah.
We struck a trade deal with India worth billions. Carney signs deal worth billions in diplomatic breakthrough with India's Modi. Prime Minister Mark Carney and his Indian counterpart announced Monday what they're calling a new partnership in a series of multi-million-dollar deals and a commitment. So they haven't signed the free trade deal. They've just said, we're going to commit to committing to talking about a trade deal. By year's end, as the two look to turn the page on years of frosty bilateral relations marked by allegations of India's, foreign interference. I know that Modi did not care for Trudeau. Well, how do I know that? Every time Trudeau went and Bollywooded his way through India, Alberta and Western farmers got stuck with tariffs. Trudeau went there and he namaste'd his way through the Indian subcontinent. And you know what we got? Tariffs on canola, tariffs on pulses. And so this is, I guess, a healing of that relationship, but not really, because there's no trade deal struck. They just said they're going to talk about it by the year's end. So it's interesting how they wrote this up.
But I think like what Polyev was saying, like we can actually do deals with, we have already deals with like so many countries for free trade. This is not the thing. The work needs to be done inside Canada, not outside Canada.
Right.
Like the thing that is not staying here to fix the problem inside Canada, that should actually tell a lot about the man. We have still inter-provincial barrier that are still in place. It's not being removed.
Right.
The production is not being accelerated inside our country. So the problem is not outside, it's inside, because our biggest trade partner is next door.
Well, yeah, that's the thing too. Like, okay, can we just stay home for a minute and then hop on that really quick flight to Washington and figure out how to fix the relationship with our largest trading partner? Or could we figure out how we can remove some of the trade barriers within the country? I don't know, like getting a pipeline built, moving alcohol from province to province. Could we do that so that we can trade in amongst ourselves? But no. We have to do these big grandiose things on an international scale instead of just picking up the phone and straightening out our relationship with the Americans. But they can't do that because they need to fight with the Americans because we've got an election coming up.
Yeah, and who is footing the bill for all those beautiful trips that he's doing when he's not fixing the real problem?
Right here,
Yeah,
right here. He's
exactly.
traveling twice as much as Trudeau, and Trudeau just couldn't stay home. And he's traveling twice as much, and we have much less to show for it, honestly. Let's move ahead to this.
And is bringing his wife that is supposed to be a really nice activist for the environment, while she's actually taking a private jet for going everywhere.
Yes. Yep. All of this stuff could have been Zoom calls.
Exactly. So if you pretend to be like one of the biggest activists for the planet, but why you are doing exactly the opposite of what you're actually lecturing the public for.
Oh, but you know that's how these people work. My SUV is the problem, not their private jets.
Exactly.
Me burning my plastic in the incinerator in my yard, that kills the environment, but not their jet fuel or any of those things. It's just me. I'm the problem. And I do. I burn my plastic in an incinerator and I don't care. What's the opposite? Recycling it? Recycling is a scam? Burying it in the ground for future generations? No, thank you. I'm
Be
leaving nothing
careful.
behind.
Quebec City have banned a couple of times to use the wood fire
Yeah,
because
come
they say
get me.
that because of the air pollution. But the thing is, when they actually banned to use it, it was a really cold days. And so a lot of people rely on this for heating their home. So literally be careful. Don't spread too much the word that you're actually burning your plastic.
I'm burning my plastic. I don't care. I'm leaving nothing behind. That's what I'm doing. No trace of me. Yeah, and someone should tell the people in Montreal that a high efficiency fireplace burning wood is the same as the wood decaying in the forest. It releases carbon when it decays. It's exactly the same, but these people think that there's some kind of way that other elements just make its way into the system. We're a closed system, right?
Mhm.
Anyway, Vancouver and British Columbia continues to be one of the worst places in this country when it comes to property rights. This is from DH Urbanize. The Government of Canada's landmark agreement recognizes Musqueam First Nations Aboriginal title in Metro Vancouver. Guys, what could possibly go wrong? What could go wrong? Control over fisheries, marine planning, and emergency response. Oh, good gracious. Along parts of the south coast of British Columbia will increasingly be shared by the Musqueam Indian Band under 3 new agreements signed with the Government of Canada last week. More importantly, the deal also formally recognized Musqueam's Aboriginal rights and establish a framework for joint governance in the First Nations traditional territory. Good luck renewing your mortgages, everybody. Um, I think this is going to cause real problems for the fishery there, especially for people who already have quotas, who are non-Indigenous. It includes Metro Vancouver's drinking water reservoirs, West Vancouver, North Vancouver City, North Vancouver District, Vancouver, the University of British Columbia, the University Endowment Lands, Burnaby, Port Moody, Anmore, Belcarra, Coquitlam, New Westminster, Richmond, Vancouver International Airport, and the northern areas of Delta and Surrey waterways. And it overlaps with several other First Nations who will likely fight it out now. So this is going to be causing all sorts of problems. I think this will end up in court 11 ways to Sunday. And I think if you're like near Chilliwack, you're probably thinking and looking at Alberta and thinking, maybe we should go with them. Like if you're Chilliwack East, are you looking at us and saying, maybe we should just leave if Alberta goes and save ourselves from this nonsense?
People don't realize, but those stupid land acknowledgement, what do you think that will happen next after the land acknowledgement?
Right.
And by the way, they are doing the same thing in Quebec. They are now, I think, suing the government to get the land rights in some part of Quebec. So we'll see if that will end up with the same kind of situation. But good luck for the people who are actually living in those land, those part of land.
Or like if you're a fisherman and you rely on the fishery there, commercial fisherman,
luck.
you have good luck to you. You do any like this is terrifying if you live there, if you hold a mortgage there, run a business there. I can't imagine the uncertainty.
And by the way, don't forget that on those land that is owned by native, how much illegal trades is actually happening, and we can't control them. Just Akwesasne, where
Six Nations,
guns is just like flooding in and out.
Guns, drugs, contraband of all sorts, including cigarettes, nicotine. Yeah, and there's no ability to get control of it whatsoever. So
now we are giving them more playing field for doing their business? So what is happening?
Yeah. You touched on this, but let's touch on this before we wrap the show, get to the couple chats we have. And if you guys have chats and you're watching the show, get them in right now because we got to wrap up. My voice won't hold out much longer. Conservatives call for federal independent inquiry on the Tumbler Ridge mass shooting. And we've seen the liberal efforts to blame this on ChatGPT. And I think there's some culpability there, as is the case with ChatGPT. They're sort of lurking in the background of a lot of these bad things, including suicides and shootings. But it's pretty clear that given the points of contact that the police had with this family, there's something else broader at play where there could have been serious intervention a lot sooner. I want to know what the school knew. I want to know what the local doctor knew. I want to know who prescribed those SSRIs and cross-sex hormones, if that were the case. There's a lot of blame to go around here, and I want to make sure it's properly assigned. And the liberals, and they're really focused on ChatGPT. So,
obviously, they want to control the AI. They want to control social media. They want to control everything that they don't have the control over. And literally, we don't need them to control anything. We need to make them accountable so that next time they will be like,
they can control themselves. Right.
Yeah, exactly. But accountability meaning why they don't face justice.
Right.
Regarding that.
So, and Bob Zimmer is the MP, a conservative MP for Tumbler Ridge. He is one of the, like a genuinely good human being, like just a nice, genuine guy. And that's tough to say about people in politics. And he's the MP making the calls for accountability for his community. Federal conservatives are calling for an independent inquiry on the mass shooting in Tumbler Ridge to understand what happened and how to prevent similar tragedies from occurring in the future. Look, if we called one on the Nova Scotia shooting, we should call one for this. We have a responsibility so that it never happens again, and I think that an inquiry will find those answers and then make recommendations, said Bob Zimmer. At the end of the day, we want to get to the bottom of what happened, to provide answers, to provide healing, and to provide prevention from this happening in the future, said BC Conservative MP Frank Caputo, who is also the party's public safety critic. I think David Eby, no, he's not on board. He's probably going to be okay with a gun grab related to this, but not an inquiry. So earlier this week, David Eby said his province will use any tools available to ensure questions about the tragedy are answered, but he stopped short of announcing a public inquiry in which a local MLA is now calling for. Yeah, we have to ask why there was access to firearms, given the mental health and points of contact, the police response, and the AI use in the background, for sure.
And the fact that the police went how many times at their property for mental breakdown, and they actually seized the firearm, but they brought them back. So why is the police, the law enforcement, the medical system didn't actually follow that individual closely afterwards, knowing that the guns are back in the property?
Yes. Why weren't the firearms secured? Like, I get that he wasn't the owner of the firearms, but you still have a responsibility to have the firearms in your home secured. Why did he have access to those? Nobody has access to my firearms except me.
And why did you ask I understand, ask the firearm to be back in the house with a mentally healed individual? In that moment, you should ask someone else to keep it at home.
For sure.
For the moment that the individual is not stable.
Right. For sure. And I don't know who the owner is, if it was the mom's boyfriend, whatever, that they haven't been clear about that. But we do know that the firearms were belonging to someone who was at the residence, but not the shooter. There, of course, is responsibility on that person for not securing the firearms. And why weren't they saying, okay, we've got a big problem in this house, give them to somebody else to store them? But that never happened either. There's a
No,
lot of blame to go around.
but there is many elements that we need to take in consideration. It's not just AI. I think it's like lots of people involved in this, and I think an inquiry would shed lights
Yes.
on what happened.
Yeah, I don't know the answers to these questions. I don't know whose firearms those were.
Can we just start acknowledging that it was a man
Right.
also?
Right.
And
But we're
stopping saying woman, because I need to tell you that recently I went to my hairdresser and she thought it was a woman who committed the shooting.
oh,
That just show you
right.
how the mainstream media lie to the
Well,
public.
Well, especially if you're just getting your news that happens in English Canada, in Quebec, in French, you wouldn't even notice what games they're playing. Ugh,
Exactly.
sickening. Sickening. I think we've got to wrap the show. I need some Cepacol, perhaps. I have enough cold medicine in me that I think it's probably 1.5 times the safe dose for somebody of my size, but I got to get through the day. We've got a couple of chats or at least one chat, and we've got a new subscriber, I think, to the channel. Maybe not. Sasquatch Chronicles gives us $4.99. The picture the CBC used of the two women crying is 100% AI. Is it? I don't know.
It might be.
The US media was goofing Canada for using it. Oh, it could be. For sure. I think for every time they use AI, they should have to lay off a photojournalist over at the CBC.
Yes.
Just
True.
for fairness. All right. This is from P. Schofield 10, who is our American regular viewer, regular donor. He actually came to our Rebel birthday party in Calgary. Pleasure to meet him. He gave us a little gift. The flowers photo in front of the U.S. Embassy was very touching. Thanks from your friends south of the 49th parallel. Well, thank you for making the world a safer place, and for the Americans who paid the ultimate cost to do that. And then we've got, this isn't a paid chat, but someone cut it out and said, this is from Dominique Pilon 3980. I see her in the chat all the time. She says, thank you, Rebel News, and take care of yourself, Sheila. Get some rest. I would love
Dominique
to.
Pilon. Dominique
Dominique
is a woman.
Yes, Dominique.
And Pilon is really French.
Yes, Dominique. She's a regular chatter, and she tells me to get some rest. I wish, but we have the world to save from itself. So I'll rest when it's done. I think that's it. Let's wrap the show. I think I'm back here tomorrow. Of course, I'm back here tomorrow with my friend Lise from Saskatchewan. Alexa, thanks for subbing on to the live stream on short notice today, and the work that you did documenting the protests over the weekend. We really appreciate you for that.
And people will be really happy to see that there were thousands of people in front of the National Assembly on Saturday for the law-abiding citizen there for claiming their rights as legal firearm owners. And It was beautiful to see. There were a lot of Quebecers, and people don't realize, but there is a lot of Quebecers who own firearms. It was really sad to see that. Actually, I'm not very surprised, but there were some journalists questioning the mayor about that gathering, and they tried to portray people who showed up on Saturday, they were family over there, as dangerous individuals, and they almost tried to portray that as they would show up with guns. I was like, are you crazy?
Right. I saw the CBC's headline where they said, protest to keep their weapons. Like, no, they're firearms. They're not weapons. That's a very interesting choice of words to describe lawfully acquired property obtained by law-abiding citizens who are vetted every single day and who jump through these ridiculous, onerous hoops to be able to keep the property and who are being scapegoated by the government who just fails to do its job to tackle crime in big cities. But you'll be on my show, my paywall show. We'll record it tomorrow for Wednesday, talking about the protests. And I'm glad you did. I know our friends from the CCFR were so glad that you were there.
It was actually amazing. And we have like a report in French and in English. That would be
Beautiful.
actually really interesting.
Great. Okay, let's wrap the show. Livia or Efron, whoever is behind the board, I don't even know today, maybe both of you. Thanks so much for running the show. Those of you who pitched in to keep the lights on here at Rebel News, we appreciate you. We know you've got less money than ever before, and we really appreciate you parking a little bit with us to keep us fighting for another day. To those of you who do the free thing of just interacting and sharing our content, that helps us. It helps us beat the algorithm and makes the algorithm show us to more people. What that helps us, it's free and it helps. And to those of you who don't like me, if you find us offensive, maybe don't find us at all.